life finder keeps Maiev up. It was going to be a close thing.
And healing, what? Get out of, no! No!
Triple stun again. Big flanks coming out from the Blaze.
It's a death metal, though.
Death metal into the double, triple kill. Welcome everybody to the stream. I guess I can actually take this off. I'm not co-casting with anybody. Oh, which is nice. Free up the ears. We are here with the matchup between Annie Oakleague and Tickle Me Tassadar. This was rescheduled from last week to this time frame. Sorry for the slight delay. Annie Oakleague had some business that they needed to take care of, and Tickle Me Tassadar pleasantly obliged. So we're finally going to be getting into the matchup here. Still waiting for the lobby invite to come through. But it should be there quite shortly, so we're just going to get into it. I do have, however, the map picks and bans sorted out, and here we are. So, Annie Oakleague won the coin toss. They went for first pick, so Tickle Me Tassadar is taking the map pick. They banned out Braxis and Alterac Pass, while Annie Oakleague took out Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen. And as everyone would expect in this situation, Infernal Shrines will be our map pick by Tickle Me Tassadar. So we'll be getting into the matchup here very shortly. Hopefully everyone is having a good night. Sorry for the delays, and I appreciate everyone sticking around. If you haven't already, please do hit the follow button. And if you're feeling extra generous, any donations through subs, biddies, and or the tip jar at the bottom are very much appreciated, as I tend to run every cast. Anyways, I am now in a lobby, and we have all of Tickle Me Tassadar in, and 3 of the 5 members of AOL, so they're still trying to slide in here. Hopefully they'll be ready in the next 6 minutes or so. I'd like to get this going before 8:30 hits. But, you know, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. So Tickle Me Tassadar, as you may have seen on the very long screen, is actually sitting at the number 1 position, while Annie Oakleague is sitting at the number 10 position. So looking to make an upset happen here. Tickle Me Tassadar definitely the favored of the 2 teams in this matchup, but that's not to say that they won't be a challenge here for the squad of Tickle Me Tassadar. We are going to have a sub in. For make sure I got everybody. So Angel is in for Transformer on AOL, and we have Negan in for Killua. I'm ready. They're ready, I think. So we should be getting into this right away. Alrighty, we're into the draft here. Infernal Shrines. I need to make another small adjustment. Bear with me a second here, making sure that I've got the sound going appropriately. That should be good. Alright. Let's see if we can get this to actually show up. Being a pain in the ass tonight. There we go. Alright. Haha. Okay. There you go. Makes sense. So Zeratul is going to be our first ban here by Annie Oakleague. A wise choice. Zeratul is still, I think, a good power player. His popularity has definitely dropped this season, but don't be fooled. That pick can definitely still be impactful. Let's see if the numbers represent it, and there you go. In B And C West, a 44% popularity rate with a 75% win rate. I'm still wondering if these are exactly the most accurate statistics, but that's what we got. So it looks like we're looking at a bit of a mage choke. Jaina and Kael'thas both been banned out. Kael'thas at 80% popularity and a 58% win rate. That's pretty intense. Jaina, on the other hand, 70% win rate with a 39%. So we can definitely see who the winner is between those two at the moment. Anna going to be the ban out. Anna, I think, is still performing decently well, but yeah, 73% popularity, 50% win rate. So still at a pretty much dead even spot. The nerfs definitely hit her hard where she is no longer kind of OP, but she's definitely still sitting in a decent win rate. So Anduin is going to be the first choice on the side of AOL. Is it first pick, first ban worthy? Hard to say. Anduin has been quite popular. 28% win rate so far, 38% win rate. So I think in certain hands it's great, but in others it hasn't necessarily been outperforming. We are going to see Alex Straza come out. And that's a nice little adjustment there. Good on the map. Still not a very popular pick, but still a strong one at the very least. Muradin Lunara is going to be the next pickups there. Muradin, I don't know if it's the top tier tank option when things like ETC are still available, but if it's a comfort thing, then it makes complete sense to me. Chen is going to be the ban out here. %28 win rate, 67% win rate. Yep.
One trick has Johanna in.
I mean, if they tend to one trick things, if it's not banned out, they're going to take it. And Johanna right now is probably considered the top tank, if not like vying for that spot with things like ETC, and maybe a Nubrak, but the nerfs to Nubrak have been enough to, I think, drop him from that top first pick, first ban location. So good call, Mr. Caesar. I guess it's the title, so it's just Caesar.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Mr. Caesar unless his name was Caesar. I'm getting way sidetracked. Anyways.
Guys, Julius Caesar.
We'll just call him Orange Julius and stick with that. All right.
Orange G.
Anyway, Lunchbox is going to pick up the Falstad, and Ogo's going to pick up the Gul'dan. Not a lot of mage options left open, so not a surprise on the Gul'dan there, but Chromie is still available, and I like Chromie. I do think Chromie gives a lot on this map in particular, so it can actually be quite good. Did I get this? There we go. They messed me up with the swapping in and out. And we're going to see Cernian on a classic pick for him. Well, you're making my wife laugh, and that's always good. So yeah, that's the draft there for you guys. As I was saying, Sonya is a classic pick for Cernian and a great pick on this map in particular. But here we are getting into the game. I am misplaced it. There we go. I found what I was looking for. Yep. It's not smoke. There we go. Alrighty, here we are into game number 1 between these two teams. AOL on the side of blue. We have a Guy Lion on the Anduin, Gola playing Muradin, Transformer on the ETC, Angel on the Chromie, and Unikik playing the Lunara. On the right side of the map, we have Tickle Tassadar, number 1 seed in the current division standing C West. We have Negan on the Alexstrasza, Ogle the Great on Gul'dan, Broomboy playing the Johanna, Lunchbox on the Falstad, and Sonya being played by Serenian. All right, looking to see how the opening handshake goes here, and nothing seems to be happening. No damage has landed. I did not originally comment on the fact that ETC and Muradin were picked together. So we're going to see offlane ETC, which is a completely viable pickup, especially, you know, in the environment that we're currently in where lots of stuns and interrupts do exist. Mosh Pit can be an unreliable tool at best. So being able to leverage ETC's regular kit with a global capability is actually a pretty strong play and something we're seeing more and more frequently. However, his ability to duel with the Sonya in top lane is going to be pretty much non-existent, and she will generally have the advantage here in this lane. Rotations coming in from Tickle Tassadar, we can see it's actually a bit faster. Chromie does decent PvE damage, but it is slower, and Lunara especially does not have good PvE damage until she hits level 4 and gets that Nature's Calling. And generally, even after that, she doesn't have good wave clear until you either take Splinter Spear or take... and we're going to see Invade actually interrupt that line of thought to see if we get a pick onto Guy Lion. And it looks like Anduin will be killed here. He was kind of isolated away from his team and tried to walk around this way and got caught instead and ended up getting killed. So that's going to be a great camp steal from Tickle Tassadar, taking first blood in the game and getting a nice substantial lead to start us off. As I was saying, Lunara can go either Choking Pollen or Splintered Spear to kind of work out the rest of her wave clear by level 7. But the core point being is it's not very strong in the early games, and that's what allowed that rotation to actually occur. But some missed experience in the mid lane might actually cost Tickle Tassadar a little bit here in some of that lead that they generated with that kill. They do get the bottom camp. And they did not actually secure this. I didn't realize that that Annie Oakley had actually got the cap. They lost a kill, but they didn't lose the camp itself. My bad. Error. Does not compute. 5-man rotation from Tickle Tassadar onto this Bruiser camp. They're going to try to get this out nice and early. It is going to the top lane, so generally easily cleared. These camps don't push a lot in, but they can help with a bit of the wave pushing up in extended fights over the objective. And, you know, every little bit of advantage does tend to help. So Johanna's going to push in. We're going to see a bit of damage coming on Serenian with the root from Anduin plus the follow-up from Chromie, but the Qs didn't land, so it was just the W, and that's not going to be a lot of pressure. Nice 3-man power slide from Transformer to get himself out of kind of a bad position, and we can see here that AOL is going to do their best to just clean out this lane before actually taking the fight. So they do deal with the Bruiser camp. 15 skeletal defenders in favor of Tickle Tassadar, and Transformer now getting poked down hard from the damage of Ogle and from Falstad as well. And it looks like they will disengage without losing anyone, but we can definitely see that with a dragon being popped by Negan, that positional advantage is definitely in favor of Tickle Tassadar, and they are poised to pick up the remainder of this shrine and get the first Punisher of the game. Ogle's taking a little bit more fire from Chromie. Could have been a little scary little rotation there. Had Murden actually jumped over and popped him with a Stormbolt, he might have actually been able to get a kill, but manages to sneak away without any further damage. We have a Frozen Punisher putting in the top lane. There's plenty of siege up here on the top. In fact, Falstad is going to be used to go and grab that off-lane soak while they use Sonya Gul'dan to siege in. And if I know anything, I know that Sonya Gul'dan siege damage is insane. But Gola is actually getting punished by the Punisher. John Cena getting the kill, but it was actually Alex Straza's burn damage that finishes it off. But it was a really good pickup there from both Johanna and Sonya, finding that opportunity to get the Condemn into Spear. And I think the Spear actually stunned out the Dwarf Toss, so that's actually what secured the kill. So top fort is gone. So AOL still in an okay spot experience-wise, as they did a good job of making sure that they were split into other lanes after they lost the objective. But they can't underestimate the siege damage, and that's only going to get worse as the game goes forward. So they really need to be careful going forward. We are going to see Nature's Calling into Splintered Spear. So not a lot of burst on the side of Lunara's build, but as I say that, Chromie gets a kill onto Sonya. Nice little burst over the wall. They do lose the camp, but they do get a kill. And I would say that's a fair exchange. In fact, Broomboy gets picked off by Chromie damage and the tick, but it was the poison that actually ended up getting the remainder of that. So Lunara picks up a kill. And now we're even. 2 for 2, 9 and 9. Camps and experience is, camps and fort or structure damage is definitely in favor of Tickle Me Taster due to the one objective, but outside of that, I'd say everything looking pretty even across the board. Chromie, as per usual, is doing about 5,000 to 7,000 more damage than the nearest damage dealer, which is Gul'dan at 13. I mean, that's the thing about new Chromie, is she can really dish. And we see another example of that. Falstad gets caught out, gets hit by a stun into Chromie and Lunara damage. Negan's also going to get hit by a stun, almost gets picked off by a Chromie Q, but was just slightly out of range and does not land. So I would have to say any Oak League is really putting on the pressure here. Serenian's getting good experience on the top lane, and there's no one available to actually put the pressure in him. We're actually going to see, here comes Stage Dive onto Ogle. He does drop the power slide, but the camp was stolen by Broomboy. And Sonya's just going to start sieging down the mid towers. So there goes the top tower. Mid wall is gone. The Khazar camp just trying to push up the lane. We do get the rotation coming out from AOL. So the macro is still looking pretty good. And we're going to look at a bit of the talents here we have at level 10. On the side of Tickle Me Tassadar, we have Leap. This is an interesting pickup, but is going to put a lot of pressure onto the squishy backliners like Lunara or Chromie. We have Life Minder, which will help keep a leaping Sonya alive. Gul'dan Horrify, Gust, of course, and Blessed Shield, a staple on the Johanna. We're going to see the initial fight coming out here onto the Shrine. Leap does come in, lands on 3, followed up with Blessed Shield, puts a lot of pressure onto Anduin. He goes down. Muradin also in big danger, has to drop Avatar. Would have probably preferred the Avatar a little bit sooner than that. But yeah, that's going to be a 1 kill for the side of Tickle Me Tassadar. And with the amount of wave clear they do have on this Shrine, they're going to be able to start clearing this up pretty quickly. Now, Unicake seeing if they can get some pressure onto Gul'dan, but without any specific burst damage on her kit, that trade gets difficult to win. As in sustained fights, Gul'dan is actually quite difficult. But we're just going to see AOL give up the objective again. They're going to split into off lanes, try to maintain that parity of EXP, because as soon as you start falling behind in EXP, everything else on the map becomes much, much more difficult. So we're going to see Transformer gets knocked out of position. Well, he was knocked out of position. He was more like engaged upon out of position, and that's going to cost him a kill. And that's going to be this fort going down. And in fact, given the health of this Immortal, we're going to see a lot of pressure coming in onto the keep wall. As the story goes, as this scales into the later game, things get better and better for the side of Tickle being Tassadar. Late game scaling is still good, definitely, for the side of AOL, as Lunar damage starts to get pretty nasty once you start hitting the 16 level. And also having things like Spell Shield and or the the double cleanse, basically, definitely have some huge advantages when it comes to taking on Tickle Me Tassadar. So we're going to see a camp clear here in the top. See another camp clear here in the bottom. Sorry guys, I'm looking for something. Alright, we're going to see a little bit of competition in the bottom lane as both teams start to posture up over this camp that's pushing up into the bottom lane. We've had a mid, a top, and now going to have a bottom Punisher. We see Falstad make the rotation up onto Transformer. He gets gusted back. And that's going to be a dead ETC. He does have the global, so he can definitely show back up into the match by the time the objective spawns. But again, another kill means lost experience and gained experience on the other side. Sorry about that. All right, here we are into the bottom lane. And nothing else was really happening. I came down here and that was it. Oh, I found you. Ish. There we go. Sorry about this camera work. It's just absolutely atrocious when you lose shit. Srini and Solo getting this bruiser, so they have something pushing. Now, this is exactly what you want. This bruiser pushing in the top lane during the entirety of the objective. We're going to see a mid lane camp capture just for the extra bit of experience, but 16s is going to hit very quickly here for Tickle Me Tassadar. And I do think that they have a choice to make here on the side of AOL. Do you go for the 16-15 objective fight, or do you soak 16? And I personally think the answer here is you soak 16. Now, they're going to do a bit of that with having ETC split. But look at this positioning from Broomboy. He's looking right for that back engagement. He doesn't want to give them any opportunity to just sit back and poke. And unfortunately, the call is come in for the fight. Gust going to push only ETC back. It didn't hit anyone else, so not exactly the best Gust. Unicake putting a lot of pressure onto Serenian, but again, bursting down a Sonya with a Lunar is very difficult to do without certain talents. We see a double stun into triple stun, light bomb landing only onto Sonya, which is a decent target, but Leap comes in, is going to secure the kill onto ETC as well as Anduin. Sonya wrecking face here in this fight. Gola walking away with 200 health. I'm not entirely sure if he's going to get much farther here, but Unicake also in trouble. Ogle going underneath forts to see if he can secure a kill. Meridan's going to pop in there to get it, but he's going to die for it too at the same time. Kind of hard to say if it was worth or not worth, but 16 has arrived. It was a 3-for-1 trade, and they're going to lose the objective anyways, and no one's going to be up for the defense. And so I do think that AOL definitely was positioned too aggressively on this objective. ETC needed to stay split, clear up this bruiser camp, A, number one, and B, to get that extra side soak. Somebody in the mid lane, preferably somebody with a bit of mobility, which you could have put Murd in there, or you could have put Lunara there. And then you just put 3 into the bot where they could actually poke that up. But I digress. We're going to be moving in to pushing up on the front wall, and now the keep in the bot lane, as this is kind of the result of what happens when you lose 3 heroes on the defense. Before it happens, Murden's going to drop Avatar, Lightbomb's going to come in, but he did walk away, so that was not appropriately called in comms. And that's going to be a bottom keep gone. Gus making sure no engagement comes in. And they're going to put a bunch of pressure onto Broom Boy, but he should be able to just walk out using that Iron Skin. Gul'dan has finally respawned. So, you know, the game's not over yet, though, and that's a good thing for AOL. You can lose 1 keep and be fine. Especially when you have a global on the map. You just alternate that lane priority, you put ETC into the bottom, and allow him to deal with this and make sure the catapults don't push up. You side soak until you can find an engagement, use that global to find a good one. Pre-level 20s on the side of Tickle Me Tassadar, you get a couple kills and you can actually get right back into this game. You know, late game punishers with good pressure can definitely take a fort and a keep in one go. You know, get lucky enough, you can even go further than that. You might need things like Sylvanas to make that work, but... And this is going to be free clear on camps and waves. You can be Tassadar. They don't have to do anything on the map. They don't need to pressure anywhere. They can quite literally just soak. In fact, I'm quite surprised that their roaming is 5. I think matching the ETC global with Falstad in the bot, and then just roaming the mid-top lanes with the 4-man, just staying out of fights and making sure that you're safe is probably the safest bet. Falstad doesn't even have to do anything. He just sits back here and clears this wave and walks away. Clears this wave and walks away. Safe soak, hit 20, and then you go look for that fight. So Bruiser's going to be cleared here, but this is premature. I do think that they are applying this much too early. I'd like to see them save this, but they're not going to. They're just going to let it go through. And it means it's not going to be available for the objective phase. Hey, Cubico. Nice to see you, friend. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to any more Yikes S tier casts. I swear I will get a couple more in before the end of this season. And you know, there's still playoffs too. Keep that in mind. And I will be trying to bid for heroic playoffs when I can. It kind of depends on how well we do. And I like this play. Using your level 20s to actually leverage an advantage. They did play safe effectively. They did a good job on that. So they're just going to come in here, snipe out a mid-keep, and there's really not a whole lot that any Oakley can do it. Again, I think they've fallen behind on the experience side of things. I do think they could have closed this cap a lot closer. And that's going to be a tough thing because this is going to be an objective in 10 seconds. That's going to be spawning that you have to take basically a pre-20 fight into. There's almost no choice here because a Punisher plus 5 heroes pushing in with level 20s on your core is a scary situation. And in fact, we see Broom Boy looking for positioning. I don't think he knew that the time trap was there. So they didn't have vision on him. The root came out from Anduin to see if they could actually get the pick onto Johanna. But again, Johanna can just trade out of things like that. So it's not the... She is definitely the one who wants to be eating that. ETC stage drive is going to come in, but it's not going to land on anything substantial. And now Wind Tunnel is going to keep them zoned on one side. And here comes a leap. Plus, we got the level 20 upgrade. I apologize for the lack, but we got a nice time stop into Light Bomb to kind of hold them down. But the double Life Binder is going to keep Serenian back to full health. That's going to be another kill. And this is the problem with 20s. I should have actually been having this up. I got a little bit distracted, but we had Demonic Circle and we had Area Creator taken up. Just making sure that those low mobility heroes have literally nowhere to go and they're just stuck in a cage with Sonya. You know, and late game Sonya is devastating. Can be just an absolute terror. So this would have to be a miracle defense. I do think that this is going to be GG and the end of the game here. I think the writing is on the wall. Lunara's going to do her best to poke out. We'll see Murd and see if he can stall things out. But as soon as that Punisher hits here, it's going to be pretty much GG. Double stun, plus leap, plus wind tunnel. I mean, damn. What do you even call that? What do you call an area crater leap into a wind tunnel gust? Chat, that's your challenge. You tell me what the fuck you call that. Because I have no idea. But I feel like it should have a name. Area crater into wind tunnel. Huh. Well, Tickle Me Tassadar are showing us why they are number one here in Division C West in a pretty dominating game number one. Only 4 heroes dying 1 time in that matchup. Sorry, guys. There we go. That Demonic Circle, I think is good. Like, I do think that this is a decent escape tool and gives Gul'dan that little bit of mobility that he often lacks that can avoid some of that dive. Dark Bargain is an interesting choice. I think it's a good synergy with Demonic Circle, but you have to hit 20s for that. And by that point, it was kind of this a very interesting Gul'dan build, one that I don't think I've ever seen before. Elements I recognize, of course, this 2 talent synergies. Life Tap is good, but generally not picked as often. Okay, make it. But anyways, that's your talents, that's your things. We'll be right back. It should only be a very short period of time here, guys. We'll be right back. In fact, I don't even know if I have to do that. Let's just put me onto camera here. Let's update the match setup. Because we're going to be going to Cursed Hollow. Not the most popular map in NGS currently, unlike Infernal Shrines. But a powerful one all the same. And I'm interested to see how this all kind of works out in the long run. Can they bring it back? Or are they doomed for yet another 20? Yeah, there are just kind of moments in the game that you can fall behind pretty hard. And sometimes making choices like, let's just give this up and re-soak that experience parity is still the right play. Even if you lose that fort, even if you lose that keep. Losing those 2 things while soaking properly and not dying is still immensely better than losing those 2 things, not soaking, and also dying. So you just sometimes have to be able to recognize when those situations are. Things getting spicy in chat here. Unicake requesting a throw from Tickle Me Tassadar, but I just don't know if that's if they've got it in them. We'll have to see. I'd like to see at least 1 game throw here to bring us to game number 3, but I imagine Tickle Me Tassadar would like to extend their lead as they are currently tied for first place with Paraloot and CCS. Taking a victory here would be a nice boon, and a 3-point domination is definitely something desirable here. Zeratul is going to be the first ban. I hadn't realized I hadn't switched things over yet. So we saw the stats of that though, so I don't really need to pop it back up again. Still a powerful pick. Kael'thas is going to be first ban. I imagine they feel like Kael'thas is a priority pick for someone on the side of Annie Oak League. Sonic Boom. For now, I will take that one. It seems pretty interesting. Because you would think there would be quite a bit of sound with a big wind tunnel running through like a crater. That would be interesting. So we'll stick with that one. But keep your brains working. Think if you can think of anything else that combo could be, because it's really cool. Now, that's a cool adjustment coming out from Annie Oakley. Diablo is going to be banned out. And I'm quite interested to see what statistics we're talking about with Diablo here. You know, Diablo's had a hard time this season, I think, across the board. He's really dropped down, I think, in some of the priority. And I think he shines still on good maps, but he's not like that first pick, first ban area that we saw him at earlier. I think in the hands of specific players, he can definitely be a powerful pick, but I don't think he is the all-powerful. So we're going to see Falstad taken away from Lunchbox. And it's going to be Gola, who played the Muradin, that picked it up. So we'll see if we have any hero swap shenanigans coming out. And Brew Boy is not going to go for the Johanna, and instead going to go for the Muradin, but Dahaka. I like it. Dahaka, this is probably his favorite map. Cursed Hollow is a fantastic place for Dahaka. There are so many bushes for him to flank from. There are so many ways to get value out of that global of his. It is nice to see. And in fact, let's actually bring up the Dahaka stats, because I imagine that those would be quite interesting. So we've got Muradin. I actually didn't see those stats because I wasn't paying enough attention, so I'm probably going to pop those back up again just so that I personally don't know what they are. So Gola on the Falstad, although I am totally expecting them to do a bunch of hero swapping shenanigans. Grrr. Brightwing, so that's double global into a single global. Unicake's going to stay on the Lunara. So let's take a look to see what that was again. 11%, so 22% popularity and a 56% win rate is pretty good. I did not pop up Lunara stats last time, so let's take a quick look at that. And maybe even Falstad. Falstad is definitely one of those heroes. 4% popularity with 100% win rate with a 10 KDA in C West. Guys, Lunara is the pick. It seems to be looking like the boss pick right now. Lunchbox not getting the Falstad is instead going to go for the Rainer, but we are going to see Negan back on the Alex Straza again. In the last set, I saw... Yeah, you know what? An air dryer would totally be it. Gaius Julius Caesar, you are the emperor of good ideas. I'm totally going to call that an air dryer. You rock. We're probably not going to see it enough to really make it a thing, but I love it. That's fantastic. That makes me happy. Angel is going to go on to the Anubarak. I really am expecting a bunch of hero swap shenanigans coming out of this. And an Uther. Double support. Anubarak off lane false. This is just a spicy, spicy draft, guys. I think we're having a... So maybe not a lot of swapping around here. Okay. There it is. Okay, so you're on the Anub. And you're on the Falstad. Everyone else appears to be in the appropriate position. All right. Air dryer. I love it. It's great. Did that actually work? Okay, the overlay is switched over. I do always think that the keg. Here, let's get the introductions done first. We have on the blue side, AOL looking for the Equalizer here on Cursed Hollow, Transformer on the Uther, Gola on the Anubarak, and Unicake on the Lunara, Angel on the Falstad, and Guy Lion on the Brightwing. And on the other side, looking for the 2-0 domination to continue their dominating lead here in C West, we have Lunchbox on the Rainer, Negan on the Alexstrasza, Broomboy playing the Muradin, Ogle the Great on the Li Ming, signature hero of his, and Serenian on Dahaka. Serenian is fantastic at Dahaka. I've seen it many times. Very strong hero for him. Lunchbox, I was pretty sure has traditionally been an off-lane player, so I don't know about his range damage, but I could be completely wrong about that, so don't quote me. But his Falstad was quite good in the last set, so I'm expecting a decent play here on the Rainer. But Ogle Li Ming is actually, I think, a pretty well-known thing if you've seen him around in NGS for as long as he has been. So, and this is a good map for it. Of all the maps where you get a bit of different, like, mage disparities, like, Li Ming is actually quite strong here. We see this is where the pairing with Muradin is very good. So that's going to be kill number 1 there on the Brightwing. She gets popped there in the bottom lane. Hammer coming through, landing, and follow-up burst damage out of the Li Ming is going to secure the kill. Was the auto attack from Rainer that secured the kill, but that burst damage was definitely what got her in range. So we don't see Sentinel Wisp from Lunara, which I think is a bit of a misplay, as I do really think that Sentinel Wisp is one of her strongest talents, and it's at level 1, which is fantastic. And add on top of that, Cursed Hollow. Vision control in Cursed Hollow is almost about as important as boss control, if not more so. But the standard Wisp will still do an okay job. It's not like it doesn't do nothing. It'll at least protect, give them some warning in case ganks are a thing. Alexstrasza Li Ming clearing lane or camps. It's a slow process. You're never going to get max value out of the bombs unless Negan's taking all the damage, and you can't do that. But they do still get it out faster than the Brightwing and the Lunara. So what am I talking about there? I'm going to see the standard dominance build. Aether Walker, though, a bit of an adjustment there. No power hungry. But again, kind of like BOE, you can justify it here as globes can be scarce, as a lot of your confrontations take place outside of the lanes themselves. This is not a good example of that, but this is. So when it comes down to these fights here, having that teleport on a lower cooldown and a mana reduction can be significant. So Sentinel Wisp is going to scout out this rotation. Well, not Sentinel Wisp, just the Wisp. And that's good. That's what you want the Wisp there to be for. So Nubrak's going to dive over the wall. Is going to take a ton of damage from Li Ming and Rainer. In fact, so quickly was that damage dished that the W was not able to come out in time to mitigate it. It actually came through after the fact, which Rainer actually burned down with an auto attack. And that's going to be kind of the issue here, especially if we get laser Li Ming. Cocoon's not going to work very well, but one big saving grace here for the side of Annie Oak League is the fact that Li Ming is very low on mana. But it looks like they might just give this up. Sereni comes in with the dig well before the fly comes in from Falstad. They do get the channel. And so Falstad a little bit slow on the rotation. They backed up a lot. The Dahaka put a lot of pressure in. Definitely came in at the right time. When they knew they were going for the cap, Sereni came in on that Dahaka immediately and added to the pressure to avoid it. There was a window that Annie Oakley could have gotten in there to get at least a secondary delay to maybe buy the time they needed for Falstad to make the rotation in. But he basically needed to be making that rotation in almost immediately at the same time that Dahaka was digging. And the fact that they're not in the same lanes made it difficult for him to see it. Now, nice stun with a bit of auto attack coming out from Broom Boy onto Nubrak. It's always an interesting fight between those two, as they both can deal a decent amount of damage depending on the talents taken. But with this talent tree, Nubrak is almost never going to win a trade with a Murden. It will be decent in mitigating Li-Ming damage, though. But he's got to be hitting those W's before the damage hits. If they burn it down beforehand, he doesn't get the cooldown reduction, which is a bit of a problem. Uther is also not really taking an aggressive positioning here. And this is a tough spot, though. You're going to have to come in through here, and that's exactly it. The Hawk is going to be able to come in, but we do see the engage coming off of the stun onto Brightwing. But it looks like it is a Nubrak that's going to have to bail out here as the Dragon Queen comes out. But here is a 3-man stun. Damage coming back the next direction. The double support doing a really good job of keeping everybody alive. Uther goes down, but Uther could keep things alive, but there goes the Li-Ming resets, and that's going to make things way more difficult. Ogle is almost completely out of mana, though, so I don't really see him able to get any more kills off of that. And in fact, his positioning could be problematic. Falstaff might get the pick off, but no. Just enough mana to get that kill with Calamity. He has chips, though. So, boss is going to be taken here by Tickle Me Tassadar. They have a pretty big advantage here and allow him to do that. And all the while, during that big, long, drawn-out fight in the middle, we actually saw this camp actually get a ton of pressure into the bot lane. Took out the wall and most of the bottom fort. Boss is going to push in top. They do have giants there. That's going to help actually mitigate how much pressure this gets. But we have Curse almost available, and still, this is yet another example of AOL getting behind in experience before objectives. And Uther's actually going to go down here in the top lane. Dahaka probably getting the pull in with the Li-Ming damage, gets the kill. Didn't see it. It happened too fast. And that's going to be Curse. This boss is going to eat through this fort as soon as Curse hits. And it's actually going to start pressuring up onto the keep, so Tickle Me Tassadar miles ahead in this game with 5 kills, all 3 objectives, and I'm pretty sure all 3 forts are going to be gonzo here. Murden goes for an aggressive dive onto Nubrak. Nubrak, to save himself, drops the cocoon, stay alive. And here comes the pressure into the top lane. And as I said, the boss didn't have a ton of health left, but with Curse, it actually pushes in pretty well because it's not taking any structure damage. So it's going to take down the keep wall. There goes Hinterland's Blast, seeing if they can snipe off any of the heroes in the back, but they just weren't low enough, and it only landed onto 2 targets, so it wasn't quite enough to actually secure anything. But the boss does get cleared out. The keep will be saved. Bot lane is going to need to be responded to. But that's going to be 3 forts and a keep wall. Perhaps 2. Just looks like 1. And that's going to immediately lead to a rotation. Now here is an opening, though, for any Oak League. If they can scout this out with Wisp, which Wisp is coming through, they're going to see it. Can the rotation come in fast enough to mitigate this, or are they just going to go for the defensive? It looks like even with both globals, they're not looking like they're going to be feeling too confident walking into that fight, even though it was a pre-13. I think the Sentinel Wisp, or sorry, the Wisp itself needed to come out a little bit faster to scout out that boss. And B, they should have responded to it. As when it's about half, most teams are going to commit to the boss play. And you can use that chaos to your advantage. We get the quest completion on Uther. There's another Hinterlands Blast going to drop down. Try to get a little bit of PvE damage, see if we can get a reset off of some of those backline targets. But they dodge actually quite well. But that's a big Divine Storm into a bunch of damage, and now things are not looking so good for Tickle Me Tassadar on this push. But They do mitigate all the damage with the life binder, and now they're going to re-engage, and actually now things have turned around the opposite way, and that is going to be 2 kills. Boss is going to drop. They're going to get this keep, but I don't think they can end without the boss, and here comes the initiation out of a Nubrak. We'll see, they are down 2, so they can't win a fight here, but they also can't really end. It's too risky of a business for, with the death timer so low, for them to go for an end call there without a boss available. But that's first keep of the game for Tickle Me Tassadar, and that's a good start. Angel gonna grab these giants on their side of the map, just making sure that they got something pushing in some lanes and denying at the same time. 13s are gonna get picked up, so we have another window of opportunity for Annie Oak League to get back into this game. They will probably secure the next objective, as I think the right call here for Tickle Me Tassadar is just to give it. Let him have it, clear out the lanes, soak, get 16, then take your fights. Especially since top boss is available in 45 seconds. So, Anubarak gets through. This is being stalled out effectively. And like I said, I don't think that, although there goes the avatar into engagement, so I may have been wrong there. Full committing to the stall out, but it looks like they just want to take the fight. Uther gets into the backline, drops a Divine Storm, and look at the damage that both Falstad and Brightwing are taking here on the backside of things, and that's actually going to kill, and that's going to start the resets back up. Ogle doing his best to secure another kill, does manage to get it, and now a 3-for-0 means things could be dire for Annie Oak League here. In fact, if they get this kill onto Nubrak, I'm thinking this is going to be the end of the game. They're going to push for core here and now on Cursed Hollow, 16-13, 11 kills to 0. A dominant fashion victory here for Tickle Me Tassadar. What a tongue! Snags that Falstad right out of the Altar of Storms, or right before he entered it. And yeah, I don't think there's really anything that can be done here. Even if they kill the Rainer, it's not going to matter. The damage has just been done, and that's going to be GG. Well played. Tickle Me Tassadar taking another 2-0 domination here in Division C West over the level 10 or the 10th seed Annie Oak League. Despite the victory, despite the dominating fashion that they won in the second game, there were still plenty of opportunities. I do think that Annie Oak League had to turn that game around. And if they just take some time, look over the replay, actual replay, not just my cast, and go through some of the decision-making that was made on the map in some of those situations in both games, I think they would find themselves a heck of a lot more competitive with a team like Tickle Me Tassadar. But definitely in game number 2, especially, Tickle Me Tassadar executing every aspect of their composition appropriately and getting the wins and the kills that they needed to secure the victory. And while they couldn't end on that first really good push into the bot lane, that big team fight on the objective was good. You know, and in the end, I guess my call saying that it was unnecessary for them to take that pre-16 fight, in the end was all right, as they felt confident in their abilities to win the fight. So they just went for it, and they figured, well, if we wipe them here, bottom lane is gone, we can just end the game, and that's exactly how it played out. So fantastic job. Well done, everyone. Let's take a look at the talent trees here for a short minute. And then I'm going to see if I can get an interview together here with Tickle Me Tassadar. That is the wrong one. Doop doop doop. Well, apparently that's not going to work. Or is it? There we go. And then let me adjust this here. Sorry about that. Yeah, welcome. We're all set up. I was a little bit slow on getting everything reset up here for the interview phase. Well, Tickle Me, Tassadar, the Captain Serenian here. Welcome and congratulations on another 2-0 domination here in Division C West. So, game number 1, Infernal Shrines. We saw the Alexstrasza pick, which is it's less common these days, but very well suited for that map. Definitely did a pretty good job of it, and you got onto your Sonya. They went for an interesting Chromie composition that seemed to be getting some pretty good early game value. Were you guys nervous at all by that, or did you feel like the scaling was still in your favor? Yeah, I mean, they did a pretty good job of mitigating some of the experience advantages that you guys were able to get out of objective victories or whatever the case is, but they never really got control of the game when it came to the objective fights and just the general team fights overall. So, it did eventually snowball into situations where they had to take more desperate, aggressive fights. How is your macro rotations and stuff like that feeling right now? Like, do you guys have a really good handle on the maps you play? Do you think it can be better? What adjustments do you think you need to make to perhaps make that a little bit more effective?
A lot of times in our early matches in the season, we struggled a lot. We ended up being late to a lot of camp timings and whatnot, and I think we're starting to clean that up a lot better ever since we swapped a week or two back. So we're just going to continue practicing that. Really, it's something we know we need to work on right now.
I messed up my audio, so they didn't hear your answer to the first question, which was worried about the Chromie composition or whatever. I'll just TLDR it. Essentially, they said it netted some kills because they didn't respect the early ult, but outside of that, they weren't too concerned.
Chromie's not in the best spot in general right now, I think, and it's just, I think she's sort of underwhelming as a mage at the moment, which is why we've never drafted her.
Absolutely. Everyone can hear you now, so we're all good to go. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I think that Chromie has plenty of good areas that she can shine. Generally, you need to be able to guarantee early stacks, and a lot of them, and then you got to be able to try to get those early stack kill advantages to snowball into the late game. And the reason she has early talents is that exact fact, is that you need to get value out of it before it starts getting to the late game where everyone else starts to catch up to what she kind of outputs. But she definitely doesn't have the one-shot capability that she traditionally had. And it's a lot harder to find those opportunities to do so. So on maps like Infernal Shrines, where you would think it's a great pick in the sense that she PvEs a lot better than she used to, it tends to be a little bit less reliable in getting that damage onto targets that you really want to.
Yeah, for sure. Overall, like, with the place mages are in, I think that we tend to favor a few others, and I mean, our match history will really show that. Pretty much every mage other than Chromie we've shown, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if Kael'thas is off the table, Gul'dan is generally the backup in a lot of these situations. Although one that I see not taken more frequently that I think might actually be a very sneaky pick is Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto is an interesting one, and I think you really need to make sure you have someone who knows how to do it before you pick it, because it's not something you can just up and pick.
So game number 2, so both were your guys' map choices. Given that idea, was that kind of an advantage in your guys' favor? Like, do you have maps like those two that you tend to favor and feel particularly strong with, even without the first pick?
Yeah, there's some maps that we know we really like. Infernal Shrines, I mean, I think we have, if it hasn't been picked by someone else, we've picked it in, I think, every single game, but that's probably not saying much given most teams have. But Cursed Hollow, I mean, we like our Dahakas, we like our Falstads, we like globals are fun. So that's a big old map. There's lots of team fights. You got to focus on objectives, and I've said it in a few interviews before, but we really like those team fights. We like getting down and dirty. So
speaking of globals in Cursed Hollow, there was 3 of them on the map this time around. Dahaka versus Falstad Brightwing. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you generally have just a better position when you get the Falstad over the other 2? Or do you feel like they could have maybe played those globals a little more effectively into you guys?
I think the globals could have been done more effectively for sure. There was a moment, I believe it was probably the first tribute, where we got Falstad to fly down earlier, but because we knew we drafted a poke comp, we weren't really that worried that they were going to get it from that, so I could deny almost 2 full waves up top, and then burrow down and still have the same effect as the Falstad. So it's, with a cooldown that long, you've really got to be careful with how you're using it, because once it's gone, it's no longer a threat until it's back up. So the fact that you have it off cooldown is almost as important as being able to use it in the first place.
So you guys took an aggressive boss after the curse finished, and all 3 capes were still up. They were actually coming through on the side there. I wonder if you would have made that call if Falstad actually had Gust on their side.
No, absolutely not.
I was curious about that.
We had no Gust to worry about, but if we did, Falstad could pretty much just stop us from taking it, barring me like burrowing, but even then it makes it really unfavored for us. So we didn't have to worry about that, so we could just take that boss. It wasn't...
Public service announcement. Take Gust on Falstad on Cursed Hollow for boss control.
Absolutely.
Anyways, again, it was a very well thought out, and actually, like we saw in the chat where they were talking about Broom Boy being kind of a Johanna one trick, but we saw him flex into the Murden regardless. Is that just for that Li Ming combo capability where you can just get the Stormbolt into Orb into into the magic missiles for kills?
We like the stun for what we had, but also as far as the Johanna one trick goes, I mean, sort of, but not really. It's more just a joke at this point. Like, gotcha. We've had him on lots of different tanks. He just likes Johanna.
That was just kind of like Ulysses on our team, where he plays nothing but Leo all last season.
Yeah.
Anyways, so 2 very explosively good games. I do feel like AOL had opportunities to get into the game with you guys, but you definitely shut it down, and you used those advantages that you're able to get gradually throughout the game to kind of really put a stranglehold onto it. That last team fight was the one thing I wanted to question about. Generally in situations like that where you guys are so far ahead and you're almost about to hit 16s, was it discussed at all in comms about giving the tribute, or maybe just stalling to see if you can get 16s before taking the fight? Or did you guys just feel so confident in your team fight up to that point that you didn't really sweat it and figured, hey, if we get a wipe here, we just end the game?
I think it was a little bit of both. Like, it was taken into consideration, but at the same time, with the way the games have been going, I think we were definitely riding a momentum high where we were all feeling very in and on top of our games. So taking fights was something we were sort of almost subconsciously pushing to do as much as we could because we were on that high and we wanted to, I guess, get those plays. But yes, to some extent we did consider it, but we had a lead there and we probably could have waited for 16, but we were all pretty hyped up, so kills are fun.
I mean, it worked out, and so that that you can't really pass judgment on calls like that do in the end, actually could argue, led to the actual end of the game. So it definitely paid off for you guys for sure. Into stronger teams, you probably want to take the advantage fight. But at the same time, not to saying that AOL wasn't a challenge by any means, but in situations like that. If you do recognize it and you're feeling it and you're riding the momentum, a lot of the time has more impact than even the talents themselves do.
Oh yeah, confidence is an extremely big deal. If you've got that confidence, you're going to win a lot more fights than if you're unsure but still doing the same thing.
And yes, Broom Boy, I did like the early Stormbolt onto Brightwing. That was a good kill. I liked it. Anyways, going forward, who do you guys have left? So you were a 3-way tie at the top of the standings there with Paraloot and CCS. Have you played either one of these teams yet?
No, that is the interesting thing. Next week, we face both Paraloot and Can't Counterpick Stupid on, I believe it's Thursday and Sunday, respectively.
Damn.
So we are very much looking forward to next week. It's going to be wild. It's all of the top teams duking it out, and I'm so excited. We've been waiting for this all season at this point.
Yeah, that's going to be a busy week, and some teams have kind of already gotten the raid bosses out of the way and are kind of cruising into what you could argue is the easier part of the season, but you guys are going to be taking on your absolute top 2 contenders that could very well be your finalist or potential semifinalist matchups in the playoffs. So this is a big deal, and I'd really like to see these matchups. Hopefully I can snag one for a cast, as that would be a absolute blast to cast. So I'm excited about that myself.
Yeah, we've been talking about it since probably like week 2. Like we've been very excited for this, and it wasn't really intentional that they lined up on the same week, but schedules worked out that way, and we ended up getting a flex match in on that week as well. So turned out great as far as standings go.
Any messages you have for those 2 teams?
Oh, I've been flaming Volk since week 1, but he better be there because that's the whole reason we scheduled this Sunday. So I will see you there, my friend. We got to finally duke it out and see who's the top dog here. And as far as Paraloot, we didn't really expect them to be where they are, but they definitely showed why they are over the season. So
Paraloot is the dark horse of C West, guys. I'm going to point this out.
Yes.
And we saw a bit of that from them at the end of last season where they really started to make a good run through the playoffs. But this season, they seem just on fire and definitely seem to be one of those teams that you don't ever want to walk into underestimating by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited to see how it goes because I don't know a whole lot of players on their team, and I've just been seeing them win pretty consistently. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that pans out when we go head-to-head because we have neither one of us have prior experience facing off. So
apparently you have 7th Ace and Ektar signing up already for one of those matches there. Maybe they'll leave the other one for me. We'll see what happens. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the shout-outs there so we can all get to whatever else we need to do for the rest of the night.
All right. Well, pretty typical shout-out to my team. Thanks for being here and showing up this week. This is exactly what we wanted after a bit of a rough patch in the weeks past. Really looking forward to see if that carries out in the following weeks. Shout out to you. Thank you for picking up games. It's been so much fun having casters on basically everything this season. That's been just wild. And thanks AOL. Thanks for coming. It was fun. Yeah, thanks for banning Medivh every game. We wanted to play that against you.
Ogles Medivh, no play today.
Oh, unfortunate.
That's it, again, Medivh is like Samro. It's one of those things where, like, if you know an enemy team plays it, and if they play it well, you just don't want to play against it. It just makes the game so much harder mentally to deal with.
Oh, man, we've been talking about playing Medivh against them specifically for a long time just because of Ogle's history with some of the members on the team.
Well, not today. Maybe tomorrow.
Another time.
Another time. Anyways, thank you for joining me, Serenian. As always, a pleasure to have a conversation. We'll catch up again next time, and hopefully I'll get another cast in for you guys before the end of the season.
Looking forward to it.
Have a good night.
You too.
Well, everybody, that is going to be it for me tonight. Thank you for showing up into the chat. I appreciate you being active and making sure everyone is having a good time. If you have not already, please do hit the follow button. If you're feeling extra generous, please do hit the subscribe button, donate those biddies, or hit the tip jar at the bottom of the page. You can catch me here and on the YouTube channel where I post all of my VODs for the end of it, as well as my own personal streaming where I do things like Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft, and various other things like Twitch Sings, if you guys are interested in something like that. But yeah, thanks for showing up, and we'll be catching you on the next cast. I imagine it's going to be Sunday or Monday. I just have to see what I can sign up for in the next little week here. And we'll see you then. Again, thank you, everybody, for showing up. I definitely appreciate it. I'm going to see if I can find somebody to host, so stay tuned. We'll see you on the other side. Have a great night.